This is Your Magnetic Purpose podcast, a new season focused on creativity and connection. We'll use tools like human design, tarot, and astrology, and see what happens when you let your natural rhythm lead. So let's dive in. Here's what I've learned about creative decision making. The best decisions that I've ever made don't come from overanalyzing every option. They come from recognizing a signal that my body was already giving me and trusting it before my mind could talk me out of it. Once I started working with my human design, I understood that I have this intelligence in my body that is fast. It knows what's correct before I can even rationalize why. The challenge isn't that this intelligence exists. It's that most of us were never taught how to access it or trust it when we do. Hi, everybody. I am Ashley, and this is Your Magnetic Purpose podcast. And today, we are talking about how to actually use strategy and authority in creative decisions. Before we get into the application, let's talk about why strategy and authority is so effective. It's about accessing a form of intelligence that most people are trained to override. Your strategy shows you when and how to engage with opportunities in a way that aligns with your natural energy flow. Your authority shows you which opportunities are actually correct for you, and not based on what looks good on paper, but based on what you can genuinely sustain. Together, they create a decision-making framework that filters out what drains you and amplifies what energizes you. That is what your strategy and authority do. And the more you practice using them, the more obvious the signals become. So for generators, you want to recognize your gut intelligence. If you're a generator, your strategy is to respond, and your authority most likely is sacral. Although some generators have emotional authority, so make sure to check your chart. But your sacral authority is a gut response. It's a physical, nonverbal knowing that happens within your body before your mind even gets involved. It often sounds like an uh-huh or uh-uh, and it can feel the same as an opening or an expansion within your body. You already have this intelligence. You've been using it your whole life, but probably without recognizing it. So practicing is learning how to recognize it consistently and trust in it. Ways that you can strengthen your sacral authority is to create opportunities to respond for. Generators are designed to respond to external stimulus. That means that you need something outside of yourself to react to. And this is why sitting in a blank room trying to force a creative decision for generators is often very difficult. You are designed to engage with what's already in motion and not to manufacture momentum from absolutely nothing. When you are planning a project, gather visual references first and notice which ones activate something within you. When you're considering opportunities, have someone ask you direct yes or no questions and notice your immediate response. Or when you're making creative choices, put multiple options in front of yourself and observe what one your body naturally gravitates towards. As you develop confidence in recognizing your sacral response, you can apply it to increasingly significant decisions. The key distinction for a generator is to make sure that you're responding to actual opportunities and not just the idea of it. If someone describes a project and it sounds really exciting conceptually, and you feel activated by the description, but when you see the actual brief and the actual timeline, the response might feel different. Whenever possible, respond to a concrete reality rather than an abstract possibility. Ask for specifics and let your body respond to what you're actually being offered. For manifesting generators, you are combining speed with accuracy. If you're a manifesting generator, your strategy is also to respond, and your authority is likely sacral. It can be emotional again, so check your chart for certain. But the particular challenge and also the gift of a manifesting generator is that You process really quickly. You can feel response and be 3 steps ahead of it instantly. And that speed is part of your design. The practice is ensuring that your speed of response is genuine in alignment and not just the novelty or the stimulus. Ways that you can work with this really effectively is to recognize the difference between excitement and a true response. Excitement is very mental. It is the stimulation of something new or something interesting. It activates your curiosity. A true sacral response is deeper. It's a full body alignment and not just a mental spark. When you feel activated by something, pause for a beat and check in. Is this an intentional excitement? Is it intellectual? Is it the concept? Or is this a genuine gut level yes to something I actually want to do? Both are completely valid, but only one indicates the correct engagement for you. This doesn't slow you down in a limiting way. It keeps your speed aligned with correctness, which is actually going to make you faster and more effective. For emotional authorities, and this can be any type, you want to access clarity through time. Your authority is emotional and it is designed to move like a wave. You will feel absolutely right when you are in an elevated state, and then you can feel completely different when you're in a lower state, and vice versa. Your clarity emerges when you experience the decision across multiple emotional states and a consistency appears. So, how you can work with this effectively is to understand your personal wave pattern. Different people have different emotional rhythms, and some move through emotional cycles really quickly. They go from high to low and back to forth right away. While others, it takes longer for their wave to unfold, and it can look like a week or more. So start observing your own personal pattern. How long does it typically take you to move through different emotional states around significant decisions? And you're going to want to avoid deciding from an emotional extreme. If you are emotionally high, excited, optimistic, energized, that is not the time for you to commit. And when you're genuinely low, doubtful, frustrated, discouraged, this is also not a time for you to decline. Both states are part of your wave and both provide information, but neither represents your complete clarity. Your true knowing emerges when you have felt the decision from multiple points, and the wave and the answer becomes more consistent across all of these states. You can also use time as a strategic tool. When someone asks for a decision, practice this response. That sounds interesting. Let me sit with it for 3 to 4 days and I'll get back to you with some clarity. Most genuine opportunities can accommodate that timeline. And if they can't, and if they're pressuring you to make a decision immediately, that's often valuable information in itself. During that waiting period, notice if you feel like your decision is shifting your emotional state. And when the answer becomes clear, it will be apparent because no matter what your state is, it still remains consistent within you. The keys for understanding your emotional authority is that emotional clarity isn't the absence of emotion. It is the presence of knowing a consistent emotion across all of these landscapes. You might feel excited about the correct opportunity when you're in a high state, but you'll also feel steady about it when you're in a neutral or a low state. And that is where the consistency lies. Now, for projectors, you want to recognize and respond to true invitations. As a projector, your strategy is to wait for the invitation. And this strategy can often get misinterpreted in the way that it makes it sound like it's passive or limiting. But what waiting actually looks like is designing and developing visible mastery, being clear about what you offer and allowing the right people to recognize your value and specifically request your involvement. The invitation isn't random. It is the natural result of being excellent at what you do and being visible in that excellence. So, how you can work with this strategy is to build and demonstrate your mastery. Projectors are recognized for what they are genuinely good at. The clearer you are about your expertise, the more naturally correct opportunities will appear. This means do exceptional work, share it, be present in spaces where the people who need your particular insight can find you. Be clear about what you offer and what makes your approach different. If you're invited into something that doesn't align, check in with your authority. You are completely allowed to decline an invitation or ask for more information until your authority becomes clear. This strategy isn't about limitation, it's about efficiency and sustainability. When you are invited into work that genuinely recognizes your value, you have access to energy and support from your environment. You won't burn out trying to prove yourself. But when you push yourself into spaces without the invitation, your work is harder and less recognized, and you get less in return. And why would anyone want to work like that, anyways? The invitation is based on your strategy and it protects your energy and it directs you to where you can actually be valued. For manifestors, you are leading with clear communication. If you're a manifestor, your strategy is to initiate, and you're one of those rare types who are actually designed to do so. You don't need external stimulus to get started. You can create momentum independently. You have the capacity to bring projects and generate really great opportunities and make things happen from your own impulses. So, how this can look when you are working with your strategy effectively is trusting your initiating impulse. When you feel the urge to start something, that is your signal. You don't need to wait for permission or consensus or the perfect conditions. Your creative power lies in the initiating impulse. So you need to honor that by acting on it. This means that your work might be more of a freelancer rather than a traditional employment. It might mean that you are negotiating for greater independence within your role. It might mean that being selective about your collaborative partnerships. Whatever form it takes, protect the space that you need to initiate freely. The balance is in between independent action and strategic communication. You don't need consensus to move forward, but you do benefit from keeping people informed. And for reflectors, you want to honor your lunar cycle. Your strategy is to wait a lunar cycle, which is approximately 28 days before making any significant decisions. And that is your authority. It is very lunar, it is very based on what's happening. Reflectors are the rarest type, making up only 1% of the population. So you are designed to sample and reflect the energy around you, which gives you a profoundly different decision-making process than any of the other types. What makes your decision-making unique is you don't have consistent, reliable authority the way that the other types do. Instead, your clarity comes through time and through sampling different perspectives and the environments throughout that complete lunar cycle. Your design allows you to experience a decision from multiple angles throughout different energetic lenses by across varying states of awareness. And by the time your lunar cycle is complete, you have depth and clarity that other types simply cannot access. So, how you can work with this effectively is to give yourself the full 28 days for major decisions. When a significant opportunity appears, immediately give yourself permission to take that lunar cycle to decide. During those 28 days, you'll experience the decision throughout different energetic states as the moon moves through its phases. And what might feel great in the new moon is completely different at the full moon. Next, you want to talk this through with different people. Reflectors gain clarity through articulation and through sampling different perspectives. During your lunar cycle, talk about the decision with various people you trust. Not to get their opinion necessarily, but to hear yourself speak about it in different contexts. You might notice what you say about one decision will shift on who you're talking to, So make sure that you pay attention to what remains consistent across all of the conversations. The key to understanding your authority as a reflector, and especially in a culture that values speed and immediate decision making, your 28-day process can feel like it's a disadvantage. Your extended process allows you to access a level of clarity and wisdom that others simply cannot reach. That depth of your knowing, when you honor your cycle, is profound. So, what does this look like as a practical application? If the opportunity cannot accommodate your timeline, it's probably not the right opportunity for you. Genuine alignment and opportunities will respect your process. And here's why this works when you're actually facing a tough decision and the opportunity presents itself. If you're a generator, notice your immediate gut response. Is it an opening or is it a contraction? Is it a pull or is it a resistance? And if it's unclear, ask yourself yes or no questions about the specific aspects. Trust the physical signals over the mental justification. If you're a manifesting generator, notice your gut response. Check in. Is this excitement about the novelty or is it genuine alignment? If it's a true yes, then move forward without permission. But make sure you have a lot of room to pivot as your alignment shifts. Build some check ins to confirm that what is an ongoing correctness for you. If you're an emotional authority, don't decide immediately. Give yourself time to experience the decision across different emotional states. Notice what knowing remains consistent, and that is your clarity. If you're a projector, first wait for the invitation, or are you just pushing for it? If it's a genuine invitation, use your specific authority to determine the correctness. If you're working to convince them, it's probably not the right opportunity for you. And if you're a manifester, do you feel the impulse or are you just trying to create something? If you do feel the impulse, trust it. Before you act, though, inform the people that it's going to affect. That ensures that the structure allows for significant autonomy. And if you're a reflector, give yourself the full lunar cycle before committing. Talk through the decision with different trusted people during that time. Experience the decision from various environments and notice what remains consistent as you move across that cycle. Trust the clarity that emerges by the end of the 28 days. The more that you use your strategy and authority, the more familiar and reliable the signals become. What feels uncertain at first becomes obvious with repetition. Here's the challenge you'll inevitably face. Sometimes your strategy and authority will direct you towards different choices that don't make conventional sense. Your sacral will say no to a prestigious opportunity that looks perfect on paper. Or your emotional authority will tell you to wait when someone wants an immediate answer. Or your invitation-based strategy means declining work that you weren't genuinely recognized for. These moments require you to choose between external validation and internal alignment. The practice is learning to trust that, even when it contradicts what conventional wisdom says that you should do. You're not going to master strategy and authority overnight. It's a practice that deepens with repetition. So start small. Use it for minor decisions. Notice what happens and build trust within your ability to recognize these signals. That trust not only strengthens, but you can start to apply it to increasingly significant choices. Over time, what felt awkward or uncertain becomes natural. So here's your practice for this week. Identify one decision you're currently facing. It doesn't have to be major, it could be quite small. And apply your strategy and authority to it. Actually use the process we talked about and notice what signals you get and when this is an important part of something you should act on. You're going to want to see what happens and trust in your design. Then reach out to me and let me know what you discovered. I want to hear how this works for you in practice. In the next episode, we are going deeper into the creative application of your human design, and I have some fun different ways that we can access your creativity throughout your chart. So until next time, I am Ashley. This is your Magnetic Purpose podcast, and I will see you next week. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to like, share, and subscribe wherever you stream your podcast. For more resources and tools to explore human design, tarot, and astrology, head over to yourmagneticpurpose.com and book a live one-on-one reading or download your free chart. Remember, the more that you align with your purpose, the more opportunities you attract.